Hi, everybody. Welcome to our loan repayment final presentation. For those of you who don't recognize my voice, my name is Hannah O'Brien, and I am in the class of 2020. Today, you're going to be hearing from me, as well as two other members from my group, Amber Price and Donna Newman. Our goal with our intervention was to help students, alumni, and other clinicians feel better prepared when it comes to financial literacy and look at how this directly impacts mental health, anxiety, and overall quality of life. Today, we are going to be presenting on our project, the results of the intervention, and provide guidance and support to financial literacy and loan repayment pathways. Since our intervention video, the world has been busy. One item of note is the economic stabilization package passed by Congress as a response to the coronavirus pandemic just a few weeks ago. This is important because it has some good news for you. Within this, the government froze all federally held student loan interest and loan payments in effect for a period of at least 60 days, beginning on March 13th, with the possibility of extension through this fall. We are hoping this information, paired with the education in our intervention, provides some essential anxiety reduction for all of you.
Thank you, Hannah. So in this presentation, we take a look at some of the big picture takeaways that put the burden of debt into context. We start with financial literacy, move into 3 pathways of loan repayment, and wrap up with how to manage the undeniable impact on a borrower's mental health. The anxiety of compounding school debt is closely associated with growing anxiety. We uncovered this fact in 4 references, namely our pre-project intake questionnaires with classes 2020, 21, and 22, as well as alumni, and 3 very strong literature reviews. We concluded that despite a rigorous medical education, PAs, medical students, and medical residents lacked financial preparedness to handle their debt. As we continued sifting through our research, we noticed a pattern. Each reference independently admitted that anxiety, depression, and financial burdens weighed heavily on their minds. Then came our aha moment. PA students, like medical students, well, we incur one of the largest debts in our lifetimes when we sign for graduate school loans. To assure that our USCPA peers have a full opportunity to achieve Healthy People 2020 goals, our project set out to improve 2 of those goals. And we did that within the San Gabriel number 3 and the San Gabriel Metro number 4. The goals are 1, living longer lives free of preventable disease caused by anxiety and stress, and 2, eliminating disparities caused by financial illiteracy without a loan repayment plan. The key indicator here for our entire project is that USCPA peers are anxious related to financial literacy and loan repayment. So our project is intended to solve that problem. It will improve their anxiety by offering a paradigm shift about debt, along with specific loan literacy and loan repayment strategies. Amber?
Thank you, Donna. All right, so let's get to the evidence base that supports us. So how did we get there? Donna talks about this briefly, but really, like many of you, throughout the year, we started thinking about what are we going to do for our ATED project? And then coupled that with, wow, where am I going to get a job after PA school and how am I going to start paying off this debt? So our idea started anecdotally, little grassroots with our friends, our peers, people that we talk to, our preceptors on rotations, and then other clinicians that we know in the outside world. And then once we started to look at Healthy People 2020 initiative and saw that the mental health and anxiety portion really applied to this, we decided to put the 2 ideas together. And our next step naturally was to go to PubMed and see what type of studies or research had been done in this type of arena in terms of medical professionals and their anxiety associated with their financial debt from school. So a couple of the journal articles that we found, and probably the one that we related to the most, here's a couple listed, and they're screenshots from PubMed. So the oxymoron of financial illiteracy in a highly educated population. Are we appropriately equipping trainees? This evidence-based study was on a group of plastic surgery residents, actually out of Loma Linda. And within this study, they did a really cool survey where they asked all of the residents, hey, how much debt do you have? How much stress does it cause you? What's your plan? And from that, they were able to basically identify that there was a necessity and a need for some type of financial literacy or class for these residents who are otherwise so brilliant in other ways, felt really lost when it came to financial terms and just basic financial knowledge.
Thank you, Amber. So in creating our intervention, we thought early on that the best platform for our intervention would be a standalone TED Talk. And that approach would give us a sustainable method to share immediately with you, our 2020 peers, and to share with future PA students. Well, as only a video allows, both audiences now have a permanent resource. Our technology was Prezi, and we recorded a video on Zoom with public access, so current and future USC PA students, as well as alumni, will have the access. It is entertaining and it's an engaging design with a mountain layout that embodies the upward yet doable climb that one must take to better understand financial literacy and loan repayment. For our virtual intervention, we wrote an email invitation to our class of 2020 with embedded link access to complete a pre-test and post-test using Google surveys and to watch our video. Given the COVID-19 stay-at-home restrictions for all Californians, we couldn't present live. So, like most of our peers, we recorded our video from 3 separate Zoom locations using Zoom conferencing. In the end, this adjustment didn't seem to really sacrifice our resource for all of you. Of the 57 invites, 33 completed the pre-test and video watching, while 34 completed the post-test. While only approximately 57% participated in our intervention, the archival quality of a video allows immediate access to anyone in the future who might need to refinance their school loans and have the appropriate information. Additionally, several peers sent anecdotal emails that very kindly said our presentation was effective. One wrote, well organized, applicable, and informative. Another wrote, I downloaded the calculator right away. Another wrote, I will definitely utilize the student loan planner and research more of the resources that you provided in the video. Hannah?
Thank you so much, Donna. Okay, so we're going to take a look over here. So with our project, our target audience we knew was going to be our peers. And so we really feel that we were able to address each of the core concepts you see here that was relating to our problem statement. So we first feel that for health literacy, we address the importance of truly identifying and understanding the link between anxiety, mental health, and student loan debt, as evidenced specifically by our post-test data that will be discussed momentarily. For advocacy, we believe we were able to shine a spotlight on this very crucial and significant topic of student debt, how it collectively affects our fellow classmates and therefore future PAs. We are looking forward to advocacy being maintained through our work as a legacy project that future classes may choose to expand upon. We acknowledge the concept of cultural competency, focusing on the fact that our peers are a collective group of individuals with vastly different upbringings, values, and support systems, and therefore acknowledge that different parts of our intervention may apply to some, but not every piece will apply to every person. Finally, we truly believe that we were able to be flexible and pivot in regards to applying communication skills, seeing as we were able to provide our surveys, intervention, and final project thoughts through electronic communication delivery methods. This allowed us to communicate with our peers and corporate change on a real-time basis and evaluate knowledge levels prior to and after our intervention.
Thank you, Hannah. All right, on to the data to see if our objectives were met. So first, I'm going to quickly breeze over our objectives so that you understand what our goals were in terms of our intervention. So first, to empower students, colleagues, and other clinicians to understand basic financial terms. We wanted them to be able to define by the end of our intervention loan principal, compound interest, repayment terms, and refinancing. Next, we would want students to be able to identify if whether or not they feel like they would benefit from understanding financial terms and having better financial literacy throughout their PA program or medical school program and how that would affect their mental health. The next was to identify 3 major sources for loan repayment information. The following was then at least identify 3 separate loan payment pathways, have 3 different plans. At the end of the intervention, we wanted to have at least 75% of students who will be able to report feeling less anxious about planning their loan repayment. And then lastly, we wanted to see how much student loan debt impacted choice in terms of what specialty you went into and whether or not primary care, going into a primary care field was affected by that. Okay, so our data. So in terms of the financial literacy, we did have, so out of the 4 terms, 2 terms, refinancing and repayment terms, compared to the pre-test and post-test had an increase in 9.1% actually in both. And then the two other terms that we actually had a decrease in were loan principal and compound interest, and they both had a decrease of 6.1%. So we attribute the decrease potentially in which type of definitions we chose for loan principal and compound interest, and potentially what we talked about in our intervention didn't make it quite clear enough to those who took the post-test. And then also we thought that maybe the answer choices that we gave for those two terms might have been too closely affiliated with the correct answer, so maybe it confused people. Moving on to the next, after the intervention, there was an increase of 5.4% in respondents felt that there would be, they would benefit from having financial literacy included in their curriculum. There was an increase of 24.1% of people feeling like they had a strategy to repay their loans after the intervention, which was really exciting for us because that is a huge chunk of people feeling better prepared. This is probably the most exciting piece of data. We really felt strongly that part of the anxiety that came from feeling like not even know where to start in terms of how much loan debt we had is having a strategy, because if you feel prepared, you're gonna feel less anxious. And so having people identify 3 different pathways to repay loan debt was important to us. And so after the intervention, 100% of respondents were able to list 3 different pathways, which was huge for us. That was an increase in 51.6 compared to the pre-test. And then in terms of anxiety, the highest level being extreme anxiety, which was level 5, there was a decrease of 22.4% after the intervention. So those who had put extreme before the intervention, after the intervention, there was only 9% that put extreme level anxiety in terms of their student loans. And then in terms of avoiding primary care as a future career, after the intervention, there was a decrease of 12.6%, meaning that more people were willing to go into primary care after the intervention and feeling like they had a plan in terms of how to tackle their student loan debt. All right. And then, oh, sorry. Star Wish. Okay, so on to Star Wish. So the first star, what we thought we did really well. So based on the data that we collected, feedback from classes from classmates like Donna had mentioned, we had emails, text messages. We felt really strongly that we had made an impact and that people were really starting to feel like they could put borders on this whole student loan debt feeling of like anxiety and where do I even start was they were feeling more in control. Yeah. And also they felt more control in terms of repayment plans, strategies, and definitions of basic financial terms. The next star is having people feel empowered and having them put a better grasp on their loans overall. So I think our group as a wish, and given the pandemic, we couldn't do it in person. So we wish that we could have done this in person to make it a little bit more interactive. We hope that maybe in the future that potentially we could have an alumni panel involved with what the 2021s or the 2022s that want to take on this project. We hope that they would consider that, and then maybe potentially bring in a financial advisor from one of the refinancing institutions that we talked about in our intervention to walk through those steps with people.
That's great. That's awesome. So the first strategy the PAs should look at as they exit school is to determine their optimal repayment strategy that best suits them, their spouse, their family, from a cash flow standpoint. And as new US CPAs, you can enter the workforce with this smart budgeting strategy that allows you to pay back your student loans in a timely manner and still have a pretty comfortable lifestyle. As we consider this project a legacy project to be taken on by future third-year PAs, we encourage these students and their professors to explore the implementation of financial literacy terms and loan repayment strategies into the curriculum, because likely early intervention will improve access to better financial decision-making and keeping anxiety in check. While we're not financial planners, we totally believe that what we've presented, especially based on the post-test results and the anecdotal emails given to us by our peers, that we have given you an effective resource for loan repayment.
Just as you all will advise your future patients and give them the best of options, we hope to have encouraged you with some sound loan repayment strategies, as well as the knowledge that this information is in a constant state of ebb and flow. We applaud you in taking the first steps to reducing the anxiety associated with school debt and enjoy the privilege of being a PAC. Now go off and make the world a better place, stimulate your intellects in the process, and feel like you can take control of your student debt. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yay!
Bye.